Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2024 Wet Show here in the HammerHead booth. Our next installation, or installment, I should say, of Talk of the Trades. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeff Urbanski. I'm in charge of training here at HammerHead. And today we got two esteemed colleagues here, some legends in the industry that we're going to talk today a little bit about, I think, a topic near and dear to my heart, and I know it's to them. It's about training and how we perpetuate and utilize training in the industry for our people and beyond. So I'm going to start by letting these guys introduce themselves. Tom, let's start with you. Name, company, how long you've been in the business, and all that kind of good stuff.
All right, I'm Tom Carlisle with Sewer Pro, Underground Connections. We've been in the Trenchless industry about 12 years. We started about 12 years ago. We actually started with HammerHead about 12 years ago. Our rep was John Abrowski. He's no longer here anymore. But we're third generation sewer. My father's a sewer contractor. My grandfather was a sewer contractor. I kind of broke away. My father still does a lot of mainline work and new work and stuff like that. It wasn't my niche. And this is going back into even around 9/11. The work was slowing down, and I decided I wanted to do something different. I was actually thinking about even going into nursing, believe it or not. I just wanted something a little more exciting, believe it or not. So ended up watching a YouTube video, believe it or not. And it was actually a contractor out of Philadelphia, John Galligan, the Pipe Shark. Said, hey, I'm going to come out there and buy you lunch if I can ask you a few questions. And 10 hours later, we became good friends. And back then, I was only pipe bursting. And took off with the pipe bursting. I had John behind me all the way. Lining came out. I think I'm probably one of Corey's first training sessions. Then Joe came along, and it just took off from there. And it's kind of funny. So I've had a relationship with HammerHead for quite a while, I can say. I can pretty much say most of these people are family.
That's great. Thank you for that, Tom. Steve, how about yourself?
Been in the industry 46 years, been in business 30, the last 24, well, no, not quite, 20 years. We started pipe bursting in 2004, started lining in 2007. Today, we did change in 2000 to be a plumbing service and a heating service company only. Of course, that's drain cleaning and everything else. Today, we run plumbing service, a heating service, and a trenchless division called ATS, and we cover the whole state of Wisconsin. And pipe bursting, lining, some mole work, but yeah, HammerHead's been part of us for all those years. And their school, it's been awesome, really great for us. My guys, it's important to go to school, so we figure out what are we looking for and go seek it out and go to that. It may be HammerHead, it may be a coat, it may be whatever we're using for a product or a tool, but we want them highly educated. So coatings is a big deal to us, so we've gone to coat to learn how to coat better than we were. So it's been very good for us, and it helps bring in employees. So
That's a good point. Yeah, it brings employees, just having that extra training element. Tom, from your perspective, training, how important it is to your organization to keep your team at that top level and the technology that you're installing today?
I think it's really important. I don't think people put enough value into training. I just don't think, we have a younger generation here. I mean, I'm a little old school. I mean, I come from the school, you got yelled at to get training. A lot of these younger guys are coming in, they're more technology based, and I think we don't give enough credit. Being an older generation, we say they're this, we say they're that. I got a really good team here. Most of my guys are under 30, 40 years old. I mean, at the most. I even have some 20-year-olds here. And these guys are just excelling, okay? And sometimes I got to step back and realize, that I don't know everything like I thought I did. And, let these guys get out there. Training's very important. Whenever we bring on new hires, we try to bring HammerHead in to our facility. It's a little more comfortable doing it in our area. And they come out to the job and out to the shop, and we actually leave the guys out there with Joe or whoever comes out, so that they're getting real field training, what I'm saying? I mean, in a real environment. And we try to even pre-train them before that. When when the HammerHead trainer comes out, we try to even pre-train them. These guys are already on a lateral crew. You know, they might be the nozzle holder, you know, but when those guys come out, they can instill all the things that we should be doing. You know what I'm saying? And no, but we're really fortunate. We got a really good crew, really good young people, really special people, and yeah, that's all I can say on that.
Steve, from your perspective, when you have new hires or even your existing employees, how often are you getting them out for training? What are you doing to incentivize them or other things like that to keep them moving forward to represent you and your brand in the market?
It's important, I think, for them because if they don't get trained, they come to something like this. Because I like to bring the guys. They go, why don't we know about this? You know, so this is actually a really big deal to come to a venue of this nature and bring your top leaders of that. But to come from, but they come. If I advertise, I need a plumber, I never see one. You know, but when you say that magical word, Trenchless, everyone wants to see what's that about. You know, and so we get people coming in, and then of course part of our whole thing is the education side of it. And then if we educate correctly, everything from what you look like to how you handle yourself and how to handle every operation of what you're doing, the coating, the lining, the bursting, the safety side of it. They definitely enjoy that, and trying to find the classes is not usually too difficult. Someone's always putting a class on someplace.
Well, I'm going to open up the crowd a little bit, see if anyone has any questions it might want to ask these industry leaders. Anything out there you're thinking about or want to ask these guys, just raise your hand. I'll walk over to you. I can say the question if you don't want to be in the microphone, or I can let you talk. This is all about these guys sharing and really being, just sharing their knowledge and having them teach you guys how they walk through the landmines of this industry and got to where they're at today and as successful as both these businesses are. Anyone?
I think one thing you should hit on is all the networking in this industry. I mean, I'm going to ride off what Steve said. Everything he said is 100% fact. And just sitting here 5 minutes before we got up here, I never met Steve. You know, we've just exchanged numbers right now. He understands. We kind of got the same values and everything else. That, hey, we're all in this together. We can work together. And a lot of these guys out here, I probably talked to a lot of you guys on the phone over the years. You know what I'm saying? Good jobs, bad jobs, you know. Hey, I made some money today. I spent some money today. Try this, try that. And I think he hit on it a lot. But it's also the networking. The trenchless indie is really a tight niche. I've never seen anything like it. You know, in plumbing, you know, everybody's at each other's throats. Drain cleanings, everybody's at each other's throats. But you get into a trenchless world, you know, you can sit at a table and 5 guys will say, oh my God, I had this problem. Or how'd you overcome this? And you got 10 guys giving you an answer, you know what I'm saying? And it's just amazing, the group of people out there you just run across, you know, all over the country.
Absolutely, that's great. I think we got a question here.
What's the most profitable service that you guys offer?
Coating and lining for me is the most profitable. Pipe bursting is not bad, but it's labor intensive, and it does have a profit margin. It's just not as high as lining and coating.
I agree with Steve. Ours is 100% lining. We don't do any drain cleaning. We don't do any surface plumbing. We do 100% lining. And we used to be 100% pipe bursting. Now we're 100% lining, and we might burst 2-3 jobs a year.
Any other questions? Here we go.
How many guys do you typically have on your crews?
I run 2. And a lot of my crew guys are right here. You guys are welcome to ask them questions, but usually 2, a bigger job. You know, if we're doing 600-700 feet in school, you know, we'll have 3, maybe 4. But we found with 2 guys, the dynamics are a lot better. Everybody's moving, everybody's got a task. You know, we found that when you had 3, there's always that oddball out, you know, pulling the load. I mean, you know, and two guys, you have a better culture too. These guys are riding to the job together, you know, talking about where they were last night or whatever, and you know, probably bad mouthing me too, but no, we run 2-man crews on most of our installs.
Pipe bursting, we do 4. Pipe lining, we get by with 2, but again, this morning we had a big discussion about it, and we want to do 3. But 3 gives you a little more, helps cut down the hours during the day, but it also allows us to train, to set up my next crew, because we find that we have a plan. And our plan is to have 2 crews by April 1st, I believe, and set our second trailer up. And so we looked at it and we said, okay, how can we do this and make it work the best? So we line every day. We add a person to that. We bring in another person, and they'll help. But by April, we'll start pipe bursting. So they get, if we do this correct with the right numbers, we'll be bursting one day, lining the next, or something in that order. But it'll be about a 50-50, and by the end of the year, bursting will be standing alone, and 2 lining crews will be doing their thing. The idea is to grow by 1 trailer a year for lining.
How many jobs do you do in a month? How many jobs do you do in a month for lining?
For lining, okay. We try to do, the optimum word is try, to do 1 job a day. But the reality is some days the cleaning is so intense, cast iron, descaling, getting the scale out of the pipe, it might take you a day and a half or 2. And it depends if you're talking 60 foot or you're talking 160 feet. So that's some of the differences too.
We try to average 1 a day per crew, but like he said, if you're working in a school and you got multiple shots, we'll do 3, 4, 5 shots. We just did a project a couple of weeks ago. I think we had 16, 18 shots in 14 hours at a food plant. So it all depends. If you're set up for it, you're just in your shooting liner, or are you going in there cleaning and shooting? Sometimes you can't go in there and clean ahead of time. If like you're in a school or something like that, you just got to do it all at once. It all varies. It really all varies. But on a typical house, you can knock one out pretty easy in a day, most likely 2.
So we also try to do something a little different, and that's actually, it doesn't always work. My guys will definitely tell you that, but the goal is to shoot 4 days in a row and keep Friday as a day off, or you come in and load a trailer, but it's all the oh shit day also. Something went wrong, you have that day to make it up. So you definitely, your Saturday and Sunday off. But man, if you worked your butt for 5 days, your old shit day might be Saturday. None of us happy about that.
Yeah, I'll touch on what Steve said. Fridays are like, in the lining community, it's called a shoot and pray day. Because it just seems like every Friday something weird happens, and you get buddies across the country calling you going, yeah, I got to put it in today. And it just seems like that is the day when things go awry. Every time. So we're kind of the same way. We try to stay Monday through Thursday when we can, or sometimes you got to line on a Friday or a weekend, you're in a facility that's shut down. But yeah, it's definitely not our favorite day to line.
Any other questions for these experts? No, nothing? You guys using online learning at all yet? Have you started using that a little bit?
Not much. A little bit, but not much.
I just learned how to use a computer the other day, so.
Got a question here, hold on.
How do you sell the job to the homeowner over dig and replace?
So we'll get a call, and like I said, we cover the whole state. We get a call, and I go out, and I go, I'm back in my truck, I carry the cameras, I carry everything I need to look at that sewer. Once I get the sewer camera out to the main, I invite them to sit down with me and watch it come back. And I try to make sure I have a camera that shows detail upon detail, because if they can see what I want them to see, then they go, we have to do something. Then I put a quote together, and I failed miserably at this, but I end up emailing it to them versus stand there, do it in the truck, come back, print it out, and give it to them, which I think is better. But we usually get over 75% of our quotes, and it's because we showed them the problem. And other people, the drain cleaners are showing the problem, but unfortunately, the drain cleaner has a piss poor camera. That's it.
Right.
Sure. But they have a poor camera, and it show the clarity. We have to make sure our cameras have clarity so they can see truly that they have a major problem. And you need to explain to them everything they're seeing, the hole, the crack, the trench rot, the orange bird that's delaminating, anything and everything.
I'm going to touch on what Steve said. He says he's wrong for not pricing on site. I'm 100% in Steve's camp. I don't price on site either. I get there, we do our demographics. You know, there's a lot of single homeowners now. There's a lot of single women homeowners that do their homework out of any other demographic we deal with. They know more about whining when I come in the door than it's amazing. But long story short, you know, we're in their home. Okay, they're having a problem, and they're calling multiple contractors. They're hearing multiple things. You know, they're already under pressure. They got the sewer problem. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we come walking in there, they're already on edge, and you know, and to sit there and say, okay, and by the way, it's going to be $15,000. You know, you got to make a decision right now. The younger generation's pretty smart. They're going to do their homework. You know, they're going to get online. They're going to look around and say, well, maybe that's not my budget, or you know, maybe there's something better out there. We literally don't price on site either. We actually tested it. Our sales improved by not quoting on site. People have thanked us for saying, you know what, I needed a day or two to think about it. Hey, I needed to see if my 401 was up, or, you know what I'm saying, or my bonus is coming in. We actually get a lot of compliments that we actually advertise that. We're a no pressure company. We'll come in there and give you an estimate. I'll walk away, shake your hand. I'm never going to call you again, you know, and we're pretty close in the same closing rate. Probably 70%.
They're calling you because they know about Trenchless, or that's what they're looking for, or is it just a normal call and it's the competitors coming in and wanting to cut it up?
Typically, it's because we line. They have checked our website out, and they do not want to be dug up. They want to save the yard. They want to save grandma's tree. They want to save their patio and all their flowers. And that's great, but that's where our website works the best, and they can see all that. How many here are contractors? All right. How many of you dig a sewer in today? Anybody? Cool. That's been a problem. So I was in Wisconsin residentially. I gotta think there's only 4 or 5 of us in the whole damn state that line. Residential's hard. City mains are easy, but residential mains are really hard. Blue light's been an awesome thing for us because we can control when we're gonna kick it off. Man, I remember the days of ambient gear. It kicked my tail most every day. And you better be the fastest runner in town because you had to run. But we get our leads all from being trenchless, and they come from all over. So now we're trying to market closer to home. Not saying we won't go anywhere. My guys are not happy, but they're used to traveling 3-4 hours one way and staying in hotels and eating out in the whole 9 yards. But I think we've made some headways and some letters that we can use local. We know every damn town has the old side of town. It's the whole damn town. Very little is new. So there's a lot of people to pick from, and a lot of people you can help. And I think that helps tremendously.
I think me and Steve are going to be best friends after the show because it sounds like we got a lot in common. But even touching on what he's saying, you know, if you know your demographics, there's a lot of professional people. They're used to a very controlled environment. You know, they go to their office. They don't want to come home to a mess. You know, their home is their sanctuary. I mean, you know, and the thought of jackhammering through their floors and having dirt piles in their front yard, you know, and when you do get in an open excavation, the unknown, well, geez, we got to go farther, or, you know, we got to go out into the road. Now it's going to be another 15,000. You take all that away. You know, you take all that away. I mean, yes, you're there for a day, and you got to keep in mind you're in their personal world. I mean, you know, you're in their basement, or sometimes you're in a slab, you're in their bathrooms, and that's a real personal area for a lot of people. You know, and don't want people there to begin with. They don't want to spend the money to begin with. You know, you try to make it as humanely as possible. You know, when you leave, hey, your problem's gone now. You know, you don't have to call the landscaper in the spring. You know, you don't have to call the concrete guy to put your sidewalk back. You don't have to, you know, they get it. People, you know, this generation's a lot more educated than we were, and they have a lot more tools to be educated. You know, they can go online and watch videos, you know, see how it's done. A lot of times I'll walk into a house and people are telling me, oh yeah, you do the inversion method, or you do the pull in place, or blah, blah, blah. And, no, it's pretty interesting. You know, you really do. People are really starting to understand there's something else out there.
I guess the other part, guys, is we do a lot of advertising, not just website. I have a lot of radio that goes out. I think next month we'll be back on TV, which I can control anywhere I want to in the state of Wisconsin. That's changed a lot. So we already targeted our market. We know where we want to be, and it's going to help. So it's going after. I live in rural Wisconsin, and it's not a big city by any means. And if you don't do it right, talk is quick, and they will bury your butt. So you just got to do everything right. And so we practice hard to do everything right. I used to get the margin I want. Don't get me wrong, but you got to do a lot of right to get that margin. If you want to be like everybody else, you're not going to get it. So you got to really set yourself apart than everybody else.
Yeah, number one word in our company, believe it or not, is empathy. We come to somebody's house, it's 100% empathy. I mean, it's not about the sale. We're here to do the right thing. I mean, we're here to do the right. We're going to take a look at you know, what you got going on. I mean, we've had 90-year-old ladies, you know, they were told their sewers need to be taken out, and you know, and it's a soft blockage, and you know, this, that, and the other thing. You know, it's all about empathy. It's about doing the right thing. You know, it's about doing the right thing. And if you do that, the work will just come to you.
Any last questions for the guys?
What about, you guys been lining for a long time, so what issues have you guys found with lining that you had, like callbacks or issues 5 years, 10 years ago? You know, have you guys had any issues, roots growing out of the end of the liner? Is there anything you guys do different now so we don't get into the industry and have them small problems, so we're doing everything the right way?
Well, you're fortunate you're getting into it now. I mean, there's some guys in the booth here can tell you it was the Wild West back when it started. I mean, it was it was literally like something out of a movie. You know, we should have did a documentary on it because it was horrible. You know, 'cause nobody really understood how things reacted, and everybody was learning. Lining just came from Europe over here, and you know, everybody's trying to learn. There was no networking, there was no calling anybody, and I mean, is there some crappy liners in the ground from years ago from us? Well, we do warranty them. But since Blue Light came on, the whole industry changed. The game changed. I mean, I'm personally not out in the field anymore. I would have to be with hot water. I would have to be with ambient. I've even noticed that if you want it, I have a couple installers here. You're welcome. My guys are sitting right here in the front row. You're welcome to talk to them. They can tell you the difference. Some of them are here with the old way of doing it. When you get into Blue Light, it's very controlled. Okay, so when you're in Blue Light, the clock is off, and you take away a lot of other things. You don't have to mix the resins. You're not going to screw up part A and part B, or you know what I'm saying, or your scales in kilograms instead of pounds, which has happened. I mean, I can give you a list. You know, the air compressor ran out of gas, you know, and the liner's halfway inverted, and you're running the speedway. So we did all those, you know. But now with the Blue Light, you send a liner in there, or you're fighting to get it in. Matter of fact, we just had one the day before we came here. We're shooting down a hard tee. The guys are calling me, you know, yeah, Tom, I've been over here fighting it for an hour and a half, you know. I'm over there having a coffee going, no, they'll get it. You know, in the past, I'd be freaking out going, oh, this is going to be bad. You know, but Blue Light has changed that game, but it's also changed it in people guys can come in here now and succeed with it a lot easier than they could with hot water. I mean, I had a lot of good people leave because we were doing hot water. It was very stressful. You're on a clock. You know, some guys aren't built like that. They can't think on the fly like that. You know, they're more comfortable in a controlled environment. You know, especially with younger guys coming in. I mean, a prime example is at the school we just did. You know, we were on a job, you know, it was 600-700 feet we had to put in. These guys worked 37 hours straight, and I mean, to get this done during a holiday. And these are young guys. I mean, they're in their 20s and 30s, you know, and me and my brother were sitting there going back and forth going, should we go down there and help them? They're like, no, they got it. I mean, they did, you know, and you know what? It's a win for them. It's a win for their generation. I mean, there's some good young youth out there that we can harvest on, and they understand this technology a lot better than we do with the blue light and the computers and the robotics. And, you know, I mean, sometimes you've got to step back and let them run it.
So that kind of puts me into a thought process. Years ago, we didn't want to do anything except a straight line and no reinstatements. Today, we don't like to reinstate, but we got a robot to do it. But we tried a lot of crap before that. The tools we used to make up ourselves, dream up, and how can we cut this in and how can we cut that in? So today, it costs a lot to get in, but the reward, how does that go, bro? High risk, high reward? Yeah, high risk, high reward, baby. But if you listen to everybody really well, put it all in a hat and start shaking it, you're gonna find the truth is gonna come out and you're gonna be fine. There's a lot of bullshit out here in the market, and there's a lot of good in the market. Just gotta figure out which is right.
Really, there's 20, 30 people sitting here. You guys should all be exchanging numbers.
Any last questions? Well, I want to thank, you got one? Here we go.
In your guys' opinion, what's the most difficult aspect in terms of like training someone new on lining?
I'll start off with that one. That's Alex. He's one of my number one installers. He's been with me for almost 7 years. And it's kind of a funny story behind Alex. I didn't want to hire him. All right. He had an acting degree, and him and Megan are like, oh, hey, we really need to help. And I'm like, and then his drive shaft went out on his first day. He didn't show up because his drive shaft broke, and he came in Tuesday and hell started. So he actually got to work with me personally over a couple of years. And unbelievable. And that right there humbled me. I mean, Alex is like a fifth child. You know what I'm saying? He's like a son to me. And I took him underneath my wing. He's a book of knowledge, and he proves to his generation they're badasses. I mean, they really are. He takes anything I throw at him. I abuse them. You know, I call him names. I don't. But no, really, he should be answering that question. I'd have Jeff ask out to him. If you want to hear from an installer side, that's the one Jeff should be really questioning.
So what's the answer?
So I guess in my opinion is lining has a lot of little steps along the way, and I think from my perspective when I was training new guys is it's not even like getting them on the monitor to punch everything in, because that's pretty straightforward. It's say here's your diameter, punch all that stuff in, but it's trying to think out of the box. And when I have these guys look at the sewer, like, okay, hey, you know, how are we going to do this? How are we going to stage the equipment? Can we shoot down this clean out? Is there way too many bends? Are we going to get caught somewhere? And a lot of it is when things go wrong, how to salvage it. Because anyone can walk up to the drum and, you know, introduce air to the system and shoot the liner. But it's having that mental checklist of, okay, it's not inverting. All right, what's, do I, you know, open the drum, see if anything's, you know, if the liner's kinked, or, you know, just making sure your connections and everything. I think, like I said, for me, I think it's trying to get these guys with all the little steps. Meaning, like, okay, where things get staged, you know, connecting everything, setting it all up, seems to be the most time-consuming part, because it is a lot of little steps. But once you do it, you know, it becomes second nature. You don't think about it. And we're fortunate enough, you know, working for Tom for so long. I mean, knock on wood, I don't have to worry about work. If we have work coming in, Tom has done an amazing job over the years with just networking and people knowing who he is, and, you know, recommending our company to come in there and, you know, do liner installations. So we definitely do get a lot of practice here, to say the least. And Brandon, he's been with us for a couple months now, and he's probably been a part of more aligners than a lot of guys that have been doing it for a couple years. So he's actually learning way faster than when I first started. So.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, Jeff. I mean, you talk about training. I mean, I think the factories give you the rules, but I think it really should be your people training each other. It really should, I mean, that's the biggest thing. But now, I mean, can't really complain. I mean, you guys have been really good to us. We're proud to be HammerHead customers, 99% of the time.
Yes, I know, we're not perfect, but we'll come and solve that problem when it does surface. Any other last questions? We'd just like to thank the guys here for coming and doing this. You're welcome to come up and ask them more questions. They're here to give you their insight and their knowledge. And just want to say thank you for everyone for attending. This afternoon we'll have another blue light demonstration at 2 o'clock, and then we'll have our last talk of the trades at 3 o'clock here. Yes, we have another question. We got one more. Hold on. Tom will do autographs after. Yes, Rob, he will take care of you. I know it's a high demand. Kevin wants him too.
Well, hopefully you brought your marker so I can sign your back.
And Kevin, you can talk to him about that. Everyone take it easy. Enjoy the wet show.